Okay, good everyone. In our last class, we are able to talk about what index. Today, we are going to talk about what indices, but please kindly subscribe to kossydgreat Academy YouTube channel. Now, today, we are going to talk about what indices, trying to tell you what is indices. Now, when we talk about indices is just combination of what index. Index combined with another index to produce what? A combined index we call indices. Now, when we talk about indices, it means, take for instance, I have an index and I have another index and I'm trying to operate them, join them together. The joining them together now is producing what we call what? Indices. So the mentality of indices is nothing but what? Combined what? Index. Now, because index can combine with another index in different forms, it produces what we call the laws of what? Indices, which means the laws that is guiding what? This combined index. Now, number one law, we are going to talk about indices and what? Laws of what? Indices. Now, we have defined what is indices. Now, we are going to talk about laws of what? Indices. Now, number one law of indices. One of the laws of indices is what? The one we call multiplication law. And this multiplication law, if I have a raised to power x times what? A raised to power y, it is going to give us a raised to power what? X plus what? Y. Now look at this law, the first law. You see that what? This is what? An index of a raised to power x. This is also an index of a raised to power y. Now they are trying to combine, operate together with the sign of multiplication. Now what does the law say? In this law, it tells us that what? Whenever indices of the same base, the base is a, and the other one is what? A. They have the same base. The law says whenever they have the same base, take one base, take one of them, and add the powers. That is the reason why we take one of the base and add the powers. This law can only operate whenever we have indices of the same what? Base. Take for instance, I can have 2 raised to power 3 times what? 2 raised to power what? 4. Both of them are of the same what? Base. Since they have the same base, what am I going to do? Try to obey this law. We have what? One base, one of the base, and this will be what? 3 plus what? 4. Now we now have 2 raised to power what? 7. Now watch. This is an indices. Sorry, this is an indices. And this indices is what? An indices that form as a result of what? These two indices combined together. So the word indices means a combined index. Are you getting what I'm saying? So in that case, now what are we going to say? This is the law. Now second law, this is law number 1. Law number 2 says, if I have a raised to power what? X divided by what? A raised to power what? Y. Both of them, this is indices of the same base again. The law says, take one base because they have the same base. But because of there is division, they are combining in form of division. What do? We minus the powers. The law says they must have the same base, and if it is separated by division, we minus the powers. So this minus what? This. That is this law. This is what called a division law. Are you there? Now number 3, we have a raised to power 0. A raised to power 0 is equal to what? 1. Now you see, anything raised to power 0 is equal to 1. Any number raised to power 0 is equal to 1. But there is what? A condition. 0 raised to power what? 0. Or a will not be equal to what? 0. Now if a is equal to 0, this law will not hold. So for this law to hold, or this rule to hold, a will never be equal to what? 0. So in that case, what are we going to say? If a is raised to power 0, if 0 raised to the power 0, we have something like this. It will never give us what? 1. So which means for this law to hold, a will never be equal to 0. So this law is called what? Zero law. Are you there? So another thing we are going to talk about is we have law number 4. This law number 4 is trying to tell us a and b raised to the power what? X. Look at, we have two bases with a single power, one power. Now the law says that both of them are going to share this power. So a will have its own power of x, and b will have its own power of x. Whenever we have so many bases, let me say I have a, b, c having a power of x, all the bases will share the power. That is what this law is trying to tell us. Now we have law number 5. In this law number 5, if I have a over what? B, all raised to the power what? X again. So the law says a will have its own power of x, and again b will have its own power of what? X. We have law number what? 6. And what is law number 6? Whenever we have a raised to the power minus x, this one is called negative index. A raised to the power minus s, the law says, for we to have the indices, this minus here will go and form 1 over. Minus forming 1 over to what? To the base, a. And the base will have what? A power of s. So this minus is going to form 1 over to the base, and base will have what? A power of what? X. That is what we call law number 6. Now law number what? 7 is trying to tell us, if I have a raised to the power 1 over what? X, this is called a root law. Now when you come to this law, this x here, which is the denominator of what? The base of the fraction, the denominator of the fraction is going to form a root to what? To the base. Which means if I have 2 here, here becomes what? A square root. If I have 3 here, here becomes what? A cube root. If I have 4 here, if my s is what? 4, it becomes what? A 4 root, and so on. So which means any root that is going to form to this base depends on what? The denominator of what? The fraction. So we have law number what? Number 8. Law number 8 is trying to tell us, if I have a raised to the power y over what? X. Now, if you look at the numerator of this fraction, you see any number can be on this what? Numerator. Y can be 2, y can be what? 1, y can be 3, y can be 4, y can be 5. Likewise x can be any number. So the law is trying to tell us that this one now, the base, so the denominator of the fraction is going to form a root to the what? To the base, which is the same thing unlike what we did here. But anything we have, we are going to raise its power of what? Y. That is what this law is trying to tell us. It's different from this. This one, because we have 1, everything we raise power to what? 1. And having that power of what? 1, we still have the same thing. But this one says whatever number we have here, we raise its power to that number. That is law number what? Number 8. Then we have law number what? 9 is trying to tell us, if I have if I have 1 over what? A raised to the power what? Minus what? X. Now what are we going to have? This will give us what? A raised to the power what? X. Anytime you see 1 over negative index, the answer is what? The base and this power. If I have, for instance, 1 over what? 2 raised to the power minus 3. I don't need to go further. This will give me what? 2 raised to the power what? 3. 2 raised to the power 3. and this 2 raised to the power 3 will give us what? 8, because this is an index that tells us that what these 2 occurs in 3 times. Are you there? So we have law number what? 10. In law number 10, if I have something like what? A raised to the power what? X, then raised to the power y. So the law says, take your base and multiply the powers. This is going to multiply this to give us what? A raised to the power what? Xy. Whenever you have a base and you have what? Powers, go and multiply the powers. So these laws of indices are going to help us to do a lot of calculations on these indices. So on this case, we are going to what? Learn all the laws of indices. We have law number 10, up to 10 laws, which will help us to do a lot of things on what? Indices. So at this junction, we are going to be what? Doing calculations of that. Do you understand? So in that calculation, we are going to what? Know a lot of things in what? Indices.